This is the second video on the last lesson. Welcome you to this video. In the first video, towards the end of it, we found that Franz, the school-going boy, though we have not yet got his name, but we know it's Franz, he finally decided and changed his mind and decided to go to school. While going very fast, he saw a crowd in front of the bulletin board. And since this bulletin board had given them all the bad news for the last 2 years, he was just wondering what could be the matter now. Why are so many people in front of the board? What is the new statement issued by the government? He was just wondering, but he did not stop. Then, as I hurried by as fast as I could go, the blacksmith watched her, who was there with his apprentice reading the bulletin, called after me, "Don't go so fast, boy. You will get to your school in plenty of time." So Franz did not stop, although there were a huge crowd in front of the bulletin board, because he knows that this bulletin board gives us nothing but bad news. So this time another bad news might be there. And since he also had to reach his school very quickly, already he is late. So as I hurried by means to move fast. As I hurried by, as fast as I could go, he was going very fast, as fast as he could. At that time, the blacksmith, there is the name of a blacksmith, you see that the name of the blacksmith is watched her. This spelling is very important because this is a common name. It is a surname among the German people. So this is the name. Maybe in our case, if you do not use someone's name, you can just say Goswami. I saw Goswami on the way. I met Chaudhary on the way. I saw Chaudhary. It means you are just using the title, the surname, that's it. So Vaster was the name of a blacksmith. And see, WACHTER, this word is a bit confusing with that WATCH that we know. This is a verb, watch. And this is not WATCH. It is, firstly, it is a proper noun. W should be capital. Again, WACHTER, and its pronunciation is Waster. So Waster is the name of the blacksmith. This question often comes: who is the blacksmith mentioned in the last lesson? The name of the blacksmith in the last lesson is Waster. So as our narrator, he was going to school. He was going very fast. He saw blacksmith whom he knows. This man is the blacksmith, and his title, his surname is Waster, who was there with his apprentice. When the blacksmith was there, he was along with his apprentice. What is this apprentice? Apprentice is an individual who is learning something, and he is not yet a very expert or very much professional into it. For example, at your household, you must have got to see when masons or carpenters come, then they have along with them some other younger people who are learning the art of carpentry, the art of building, constructing building, and they are still in the process of learning, and that is why they are learning and they are working under their head, and that's why they are supposed to get less wage also. In our language, we call it jugali. This jugali or apprentice, he was also there with their Waster. So our narrator found Waster, the blacksmith, and along with him was his apprentice. They were reading the bulletin, and this Waster, who was reading bulletin, he called after me. Call after means if you see someone at a distance and you want to draw his attention, you speak in a louder voice so that he can hear you. In this way, the blacksmith Waster called after me. He said, "Don't go so fast, boy. You'll get to your school in plenty of time. Don't run, don't be in hurry, don't go fast, because there is enough time for you to reach school. Get to your school." Get to means reach. You will get to your school, it means you will reach your school in plenty of time. Plenty of time means enough time is there. There is sufficient time, no need to hurry, no need to go fast. How come? The boy is already late and he is going fast. But the man is saying, "Don't go fast, there is enough time." How come this he is saying? I thought he was making fun of me and reached Hammer's little garden all out of breath. So obviously, if you are in hurry, you are already late, and someone is saying, don't go fast, there is enough time, you will think he's making fun of you, he is teasing you, he is ridiculing you. So our narrator, he said, I thought he was making fun of me. Make fun of is a very nice, very common usage. You can make this in your own writing or spoken communication. He made fun of me. Why are you making fun of me? I never make fun of anyone. In this way you can make use of it. So the narrator thought that this apprentice, this blacksmith was making fun of him, and he did not stop, and he went, and he then reached Mhimmel's little garden. There is a garden in front of the school. So he ultimately reached Mhimmel's little garden all out of breath. This is very important. All out of breath means when you run and then when you reach the place, you are out of breath. It means you just start panting. This is what you do. This is called all out of breath. Then you see, now he reaches the school. Firstly, he was late. Secondly, he did not learn his homework, and the school teacher is very strict, and he was afraid of, the narrator was afraid of getting a scolding. Still he changed his mind and he came. Now what is going to happen in the school? You see, now the narrator is giving a description of how the school begins every day. Usually when school began, there was a great bustle, B-U-S-T-L-E, bustle. Bustle means some exciting sounds or some excitement and some noisy situation. That is called bustle, B-U-S-T-L-E. Here T is silent, bustle. There is a great bustle. It means there were some noisy situation, excitement was there. It usually happens when the school begins, especially in the primary school. Small children, they talk, they make different movements. So a lot of noise and excitement is witnessed. So the same is the case when school began. There was a great bustle which could be heard out in the street. From the street also anyone could hear such sound, because the sound, there were a good number of students, a good number of children, they would make sound. This sound could be heard out from the street. What made this sound? There is a description. The opening and closing of desks. This desk, it is a kind of arrangement for sitting, where you have a locker, you have drawer, and there may be slope or it may be flat also. So inside the drawer you can keep your books. So there were the opening and closing of desks. Children are opening their desk, they are closing it, a sound is created. Lessons repeated in unison. Unison, what is this unison? U-N-I-S-O-N. Unison means chorus. Chorus means to make a sound together. For example, the teacher is asking something and the student saying, yes sir, all saying together. That is called unison. So children, they learn their lessons in unison, very loud, with our hands over our ears to understand better. When the school begins, children come, they start learning their lessons. Maybe they are making a last minute preparation of their homework, because the teacher will ask this. So there were this kind of chorus where the children would learn their lessons in the same pitch, and that was very loud, with our hands over our ears to understand better. When everybody is making sound, it is difficult to listen to anybody. So what you do is that you may hold your hand over your ear in this way, so that you can understand better, so that the sounds do not distract you. So such a situation was there every day in the school. Another thing was that the teacher's great ruler rapping on the table. Rap means to strike. Sometimes when the children would make more sound, it was unbearable, it was very irritating. The teacher, in order to stop them, he would strike his ruler on the table. With the help of his ruler, with the help of his stick, he would strike on the table. This is a common sight in primary schools, but these are not the scene nowadays. There was a time when there was a saying, spare the rod and spoil the child. It means if you do not impose punishment, physical punishment, you are spoiling the child. So in order to ensure that the child learns things, education and learning should go smoothly, you must give physical punishment. That was the time when teachers would to punish the children physically. A ruler was there, the teacher would strike on the ruler, strike on the table with the ruler. So that was the time earlier. So all these sounds would make a very noisy situation in the morning every day. But now it was all so still. This word still, we often use the word still. For example, he is still sleeping. This means he was sleeping and now also he is sleeping. He is still sleeping. But this still, that still, he is still sleeping it is an adverb. And here it is, but now it was all still. Still means silent. So, adjective. So now there is no such sound. No opening and closing of desks. No children learning their lessons in unison. Teachers' ruler striking on the table is not there. No sound. It's quite different, quite still. I had counted on the commotion to get to my desk without being seen. This phrasal verb is a very interesting one. I had counted on the commotion. Count on. What is the meaning of count on? Count on means rely or depend. If you depend on something, if you rely on something, you can say, I count on him. I counted on your words. It means I relied on what you said. Now the narrator is saying, I had counted on the commotion. Quite interesting line, this one. I had counted on the commotion. What is commotion? Commotion means a very noisy situation. This the same thing that we got earlier. Another word we got earlier, that was bustle. So bustle and commotion are almost same. So there was a commotion every day in the morning when the school begins, and this commotion, this unruly scene, this noisy situation, it was helpful for the narrator, for this school going boy. How was it helpful? He said, I counted on the commotion, I relied on the commotion. Commotion helped me. In what way? I counted on the commotion to get to my desk. Get to, this phrasal verb we will get once again. Get to, already we got it. Yes, again we are getting it. Get to means to reach. I had counted on the commotion to get to my desk without being seen. Yes, very interesting thing. If you are late to school, then the teacher, so that the teacher should not detect you, he should not find it out that you are late, you will look for some opportunity. And if there is a noisy situation, students moving and there is sounds being made, and then you suddenly enter, no one notices. But if the situation is different, everybody is sitting nicely, there is no movement, no noise, quite cool and calm and quiet atmosphere, then if a single individual enters the class, everybody notices. So on other days, the narrator said, because there was commotion, it helped him. He said, I had counted on the commotion to get to my desk without being seen. I relied on the commotion, I depended on the commotion, and since everybody was engaged in commotion, they were making noise and talking, I could somehow enter the classroom and the teacher did not notice it. This means that this boy, the narrator, he was always an irregular boy. He was not that serious in study. He would regularly be late to school. This is quite implied from these lines. I had counted on the commotion to get to my desk without being seen, but of course that day everything had to be as quiet as Sunday morning. On other days there was commotion and this helped the narrator, but today everything was as quiet. Q-U-I-E-T, quiet. Then you have Q-U-I-T-E, quiet. Then you have Q-U-I-T, quit. Quit, it's a verb, the last one, quit, it means leave. Quit India movement, it means you British, leave the country. They were asked to leave, they were asked to quit. Quit is the verb, its past and past participle are the same. Quit, quit, quit. What about quiet? Quiet is an adjective, it's an adverb. He is quite well, the patient is quite well now. This is a quite difficult question. Quite means completely, fully. But this one, Q-U-I-E-T, it's quiet. Quiet means silent. So today everything was as quiet as Sunday morning, as if it's Sunday. On Sundays no one goes to school. If you go to school on Sunday, you will not find any noise. It is quite silent. So the narrator said today the situation in the school was such that anyone would think it's a Sunday morning. It's not a morning of the weekdays. Through the window, I saw my classmates already in their places, and M. Hamel walking up and down with his terrible iron ruler under his arms. So what to do now? Quite different situation. I cannot easily enter the class. The moment I will enter, the teacher will see me. So he just he just peeped inside the classroom through window, and he saw that all his classmates were already in their places. There is no movement, there is no opening and closing of desks. Everybody was sitting in their places. And the teacher, he was walking up and down. Walking up and down does not mean you go up and down. No. Walking up and down means when you are in anxiety, when you are under mental pressure, then you walk steadily, and that kind of walking, going and coming, he was walking steadily with nervousness. That was walking up and down with his terrible iron ruler under his arms. Iron ruler means a ruler made of iron, but here it does not mean that the teacher used to have a ruler that was made of iron. No. Here the iron ruler is personified. Iron ruler is actually a king who is autocratic, who is very cruel, and he rules his country with an iron fist. That is an expression in English. It means a very cruel king, that is an iron ruler. Here the ruler, that the stick that the teacher was carrying in his arms, the narrator refers to this one as if this stick itself is an iron ruler. It is as strict as a cruel king, and such a stick the teacher was having under his arm. I had to open the door and go in before everybody. You can imagine how I blushed and how frightened I was. Now what to do? The teacher is running up, walking up and down, iron ruler is under his arms, and then students are seated. Quite different scene. What is it? So he said that you can imagine I have to now go in front of everyone. The moment I will enter, everybody will see me. And you see, you can imagine how I blushed. B-L-U-S-H. Blush means when your face becomes red because of anger or annoyance, or because of embarrassment, or because of shame or fear, because of any or all of these reasons. If your face becomes red, that is, you blush. You can imagine how I blushed and how frightened I was. I was very afraid. I blushed seeing this helpless situation. Then what happened? He said, but nothing happened. M. saw me and said very kindly, go to your place quickly, little Franz. We were beginning without you. The man who is known for his strict nature, the man who was very, very strict in his attitude, in his behavior, this very man is speaking in a very kind voice and telling Franz, which was quite beyond his expectation, go to your place, little Franz. We were beginning without you. You were not there, so we were going to start our day without you. Come, take your seat. I jumped over the bench and sat down at my desk. Yes, when I got the permission, I became really very happy. I jumped over my desk and bench and sat down at my desk. Not till then, when I had got a little over my fright, did I see that our teacher, not till then, when I had got a little over my fright, you see, next thing is more interesting. Get over. Get over means to overcome. When I got a little over my fright, did I see that our teacher had on his beautiful green coat, his frilled shirt, and the little black silk cap, all embroidered, that he never wore except on inspection on prize days. So quite contrary to his expectation, he was not scolded, the teacher was not angry with him, and when he was allowed by the teacher very kindly that you come and take your seat, he took his seat. After sitting, he was looking this way and that way, and then he said, not till then, when I had got a little over my fright. Fright means fear, F-R-I-G-H-T, fright. Fright means fear, and from this word fright we have the verb, fright is a noun and its verb form is frighten. Frighten means to show fear to someone, to make someone afraid. So, not till then, when I had got a little over my fright, I was afraid. But when the teacher allowed me, gradually I started becoming normal. And when this excitement, this fear was totally removed from my mind, I became totally free. I became started feeling comfortable. At that time, I see that our teacher had on. Our teacher had on. Had on means put on. Had on means put on. Then he started seeing things and gradually he became normal, he became free. And then he noticed that yes, our teacher is wearing a dress, his beautiful green coat he is wearing, one item. Second dress item is frilled shirt. Frilled means a kind of extra design. For example, in case of your shirt, if you put extra design somewhere here at the end of your or anywhere, that is lace, lace, lace it is also called. So that shirt, it is having lace or frills, that is called frill shirt. And he was wearing little black silk cap. See, little black silk cap. The cap was made of silk, it was black in color, and it was small in size. So these things he was wearing, and all embroidered, you know embroidery, when with the help of thread and needle some extra design is made on the surface of a cloth, that is called embroidery. So all these three cloth items, that is, one is his green coat, frilled shirt, little black silk cap, all these three things were having embroidery on them. This special dress the teacher was wearing, that he never wore except on inspection and prize days. This is so special that the teacher used to wear this set of dress only if there is an inspection, if some government officials are coming to visit the school. On that occasion he would wear. If there is a prize distribution ceremony, it is a program, it's a school day, it's an annual program, then only he would wear such dress. Such special dress he was wearing today. But why today? What is there so special about this day? This was the thing that was very confusing. So we found that a question may come, it often comes, that what were the unusual things that Franz noticed in the school on the day of the last lesson? Firstly, he found that the situation was quite different. There is no sound, there is no noise, everybody was sitting quietly. Then he found the teacher was very kind to him, he was not strict. Then he found the teacher's dress was different. Another thing is there, besides, the whole school seemed so strange and solemn. Looking around, you can see the school seemed to be strange, as if it's a different place. It is not a known place. It is an unfamiliar place. Usually such a situation never happens in the school. Today's situation is quite different. It is unusual, it is unfamiliar, it is quite strange. And solemn means grave. It is a grave situation. There is respect in the mind of people. For example, if you go to church or temple or mosque for prayer, no one talks, no one gossips, no one laughs. It is a situation where there is gravity and seriousness is expected. Such seriousness, such solemnity was there in the school premises. But the thing that surprised me most was to see on the back benches that were always empty, the village people sitting quietly like ourselves. The most surprising thing, this may be a question, what was the most surprising thing? The most surprising thing was that on the back benches used to remain empty. Every day the back benches no one occupied. This remained empty. But today the back benches were occupied. Who were sitting there? Village people. People from the village have come. They were occupying the back benches. That is the most surprising thing. Why are these elderly people sitting on the back benches? Who were they? Old Hauser. Hauser is his name, and he is an old man. So old Hauser, one person. Then old Hauser with his three-cornered hat. He was wearing a hat that had three corners. It is a three-cornered hat he was wearing. Another person was the former mayor. Mayor means the chief of the municipal board of the city. We have mayor in Guwahati. We have chairman in small towns like Huzai, etc. So in the former mayor was also there, the former postmaster was also there, and several others besides. These people, there may be a question, who were sitting on the back benches on the day of the last lesson? These are the people you have to mention. Everybody looked sad, and Hauser had brought an old primer thumbed at the edges, and he held it up open on his knees with his great spectacles lying across the pages. All the people, everything is quite really strange today. All the people sitting on the back benches, everybody looked sad. And the old man whose name is Hauser, he had brought an old primer. What is primer? When you talk about primer, your mind will take the picture of this the thing that we use for painting. No, primer is a book that is meant for the primary level students. For example, if a child is learning the very basics of language, so he is given the alphabet, the way in which letters are written, there are pictures, etc. This primary book of any language, that is called primer. So old Hauser had brought a primer, and the primer was thumbed at the edges. This phrase was there at the beginning of the lesson in grade red of, we discussed it earlier, counted on, we got it. Now thumbed at the edges, thumb is this finger, thumbed at the edges means this book. If this book is used for many years, for example, this book is used for many years, so with frequent turning of the pages by many people for long years, the thumb, the impression of this thumb or the mark of lifting of the pages will become visible at the edge. Edge means this corner. At this corner, the impression or the sign of this thumb will be visible, and this corner will become dirty. When does it happen? It happens when the book is used for many years. This means primer is a primary book that remains the same. So through generations, many students, many children have learned, use these books. This book has become very old. So the primer that old Hauser was carrying, this primer was thumbed at the edges. It means in the corner of every page there was the mark of the thumb, dirty marks. And then what happened? Thumbed at the edges, and he held it open on his knees. On his knee he opened the primer, the book, with his great spectacles lying across the pages, and his spectacles, his glasses, lenses, they were lying on the pages. So he sat on his knees, he opened the primer, and on the pages of the primer he kept his spectacles. This is how he was sitting. While I was wondering about it all, Hamel mounted his chair, and in the same grave and gentle tone which he had used to me, said, "My children, this is the last lesson I shall give you. The order has come from Berlin to teach only German in the schools of Alsace and Lorraine. The new master comes tomorrow. This is your last French lesson. I want you to be very attentive." Now, the narrator, his name you have got already, he is Franz, Franz. F-R-A-N-Z, remember, F-R-A-N-Z, it is different from F-R-A-N-C-E, France. So Franz, French, you have to be very careful about the use of all these words. So what happened is that now, the narrator, Franz was wondering, what is the matter today? Teacher's dress is different, his behavior is different, the situation in the school is different, elderly people are sitting on the back benches. What's it? When he was wondering about all this, he was not getting any answer to his query, to his confusion. At that time, Hamel mounted his chair. Mount means he raised his chair. It means his chair was, maybe it was in a lower position. He took it at a higher position. It means he wanted to see everyone. And in the same grave and gentle tone, the word grave, you see, the word grave here is used as an adjective. Grave is also used as a noun. Grave as a noun means tomb. A grave is a noun means after people's death, they are kept in a grave. And here the word grave is used as an adjective. It means serious. Hamel, he stood up and he raised his chair, and he spoke in the same grave and gentle tone. When he talked to Franz, he allowed Franz to come and take his seat. He was speaking in a grave and gentle tone. In the same grave and gentle tone, he now told the whole class, he made an announcement. He said, "My children, this is the last lesson I shall give you. The order has come from Berlin to teach only German in the schools of Alsace and Lorraine." See, Hamel, the teacher, he told the children now that I am going to deliver my last lesson. Berlin, the capital of Germany, has sent orders that from tomorrow only German would be taught in the districts of Alsace and Lorraine. So the new master comes tomorrow. Master means teacher. Earlier teachers were called masters. They are not masters nowadays. So the new master comes tomorrow. This is your last French lesson. I want you to be very attentive. See, people have become victim because of war. Their own place, their own land, the two districts have become parts of Germany, and because Germany has captured their land. And not only this, maybe many of them have lost their near and dear ones during war, and now ultimately the greatest blow they are getting is that the children will not get an opportunity to learn their own language, because this land, these two districts have become parts of Prussia. They are no more parts of France. People have lost their identity, and along with this they are going to lose their right to learn their own language. These children will no more be allowed to get their education in their own mother language. And these elderly people, everybody is so sad. That is why Himmel's his own behavior has got changed, and now the situation is really very serious, very grave situation, very unusual situation. What happens next? This is really something very suspensive. It is something very interesting. Let us see this thing in our next video, the third video. We are coming to an end of this video with this. Let us stop there. Let us stop here. Thank you very much for being with me.